All right, so yesterday I talked nothing about, or nothing else except about the question I had. So today's going to be nothing except for the actual verses that I was supposed to read. So we're doing all of chapter 2 in Leviticus. This is the grain offering. When anyone brings a grain offering to the Lord, their offering is to be of the finest flour. They are to pour olive oil on it, put incense on it, and take it to Aaron's sons, the priests. The priest shall take a handful of the flour and oil, together with all the incense, and burn this as a memorial portion on the altar, a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. The rest of the grain offering belongs to Aaron and his sons. It is a most holy part of the food offerings presented to the Lord. If you bring a grain offering baked in an oven, it is to consist of the finest flour, either thick loaves made without yeast and with olive oil mixed in, or thin loaves made without yeast and brushed with olive oil. If your grain offering is prepared on a griddle, it is to be made of the finest flour mixed with oil and without yeast. Crumble it and pour oil on it. It is a grain offering. If your grain offering is cooked in a pan, it is to be made of the finest flour and some olive oil. Bring the grain offering made of these things to the Lord. Present it to the priest, who shall take it to the altar. He shall take out the memorial portion from the grain offering and burn it on the altar as a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. The rest of the grain offering belongs to Aaron and his sons. It is a most holy part of the food offerings presented to the Lord. Every grain offering you bring to the Lord must be made without yeast, for you are not to burn any yeast or honey in a food offering presented to the Lord. You may bring them to the Lord as an offering of the first fruits, but they are not to be offered on the altar as a pleasing aroma. Season all your grain offerings with salt. Do not leave the salt of the covenant of your God out of your grain offerings. Add salt to all your offerings. If you bring a grain offering of first fruits to the Lord, offer crushed heads of new grain roasted in the fire. Put oil and incense on it. It is a grain offering. The priest shall burn the memorial portion of the crushed grain and the oil, together with all the incense, as a food offering presented to the Lord. So I have no idea, honestly, what the difference is between all of this, other than what it says here, because I'm not a chef. I don't know food. The best thing I can make is pancakes, and that's already like the pre-made stuff that you just have to mix with water. So I'm definitely not a chef. So if anybody out there has a little bit more of an explanation about, what might be more some, like modern terms that will help us understand this, please feel free to comment and let us know. Uh, because I'm going to have to look into this a little bit more myself just to see if I can understand a difference and differentiate between, what is allowed and what is not allowed. Yeah, but that's it. Um, Sorry again that yesterday I didn't have any readings. Um, I did really get into the question. But yeah, so I hope today kind of makes up for it. And what is it going to be? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. All right, so we're almost at the end of the week. We have one more day. Then we get to enjoy our weekend. Um, and my school is almost over. I love it. I have one paper to finish for tomorrow, and then I have two math tests next week, and I believe that's it. I have to, like, if anything in my paper, it's technically supposed to be a rough draft due tomorrow, but then she'll give me my professor will give me my feedback, and if I have to change anything in the paper, and that'll be due like next Thursday, I think. So two tests and possibly some revisions to my paper that I turn in, but other than that, I'm going to be done with the semester, I believe, and I just get to look forward to summer and put my energy into all of the other responsibilities I have, as well as picking up on a lot of things that I just like doing myself. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And the weather's finally turned nice. We've had a few days where it's been in the 70s, 80s, a little too hot for me, but I'll take it. I'd rather be sweating now than freezing. And yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the weather as well. And yeah, I will. I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning.